Morning. It is Monday morning, November the 14th. How are you? I'm first morning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Hopefully get your day started off right. Hopefully get you updated in the world of weather. And of course, open up the floor so that you could ask any questions that you have regarding the forecast. A reminder, we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter. And then after the fact, if you miss something, you can always get caught up on our podcast. Yeah, the Coffee Talk podcast, which is available on iTunes, Spotify, and the iHeart app. But whatever it is, let's make sure to drink some coffee together, shall we? What a morning it is. Have you stepped outside yet? People, holy cannoli, it feels great. The top two things we are monitoring, right off the bat, it's finally fall. It feels so nice outside. Oh, beautiful. We got bright sunshine this afternoon too, but how long does all of this last? Oh, man. Burris, you got to go down that path? I guess so. All right, we're going to talk about all of that coming up here in just the next couple of minutes' time. But first, let's get you outside, see what's doing on our Tower Cam network. Still tilted. We're looking over toward Marion County. That's a look in Ocala. Lovely start to the day. Here's a look at temperatures. What you're seeing on the bottom are the official current temperatures. So, for example, it says current temperature 65 in Orlando. But live temperatures show 64 in Orlando. So it's even dropped since a couple of minutes ago when the bottom of the hour, or when the top of the hour temps came in. 59 degrees in the 8 o'clock hour here in Leesburg. 57 in the Villages, 57 degrees in Ocala. So it is just absolutely beautiful. 64 degrees in Daytona Beach. And then we're into the 60s and 70s back over to Brevard County. When we look at the breeze, it's kind of a northeasterly deal. That's helping to make things feel very, very nice and cool. I do want to check just for fun, for good measure, the 24-hour temperature change because, we had a fairly comfortable start yesterday, but temperatures are definitely cooler this morning, running 4 degrees cooler in the metro versus yesterday, 12 degrees cooler in Leesburg versus yesterday, and 9 degrees cooler in Ocala. So it is lovely. Do want to point out, though, first warning, live Doppler radar showing showers off of our Brevard County coastline. Let's zoom in there. Notice they're kind of trying to work in. There's just enough of a surface wind that we're talking about showers possible along the barrier islands. So keep that in mind. It's not too bad, but it's just something we'll have to watch. All right? All right, here's a look at our 12-hour forecast for today. There's that 10% mention of coastal showers. 72, 11 o'clock, 77 by 1 o'clock, 80 degrees our 3 o'clock temperature. So it's lovely out, but yeah, we do have the mention of a few showers. All right? All right, before we move on, let's open up the floor. Connie, Marie, Juan, good morning. Danielle, Tina, Chris, Emmy, Kenneth, good morning, everybody. How are ya? Frank says, making the drive today. Very good. Very good, buddy. Looks like pretty nice weather for you. Becky, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. Pat, good morning, good morning. How are you? Diane, my home says 61 in Port Orange. Yeah, I bet it does. It's so nice outside. Good gravy. Susie, good morning to you. How are you? Nancy, good morning, good morning. Good crisp morning to y'all. Hey, Brian, good morning indeed. Loving the weather. Facebook user says, why doesn't your name show up, Facebook user? I have no idea why. Loving the weather. Maybe you're so locked down that it's not even letting me see. I'm loving this coffee. Can I just mention that? Man. Nancy, good morning to you. Loving this weather this morning indeed. Oh, yeah. Now, Catherine puts it into perspective. Catherine says, my family in the Maggie Valley of North Carolina has a temperature of 19 degrees. Gross. Let's look at the U.S. temps. That's a good... I mean, I say gross. That's just my personal preference. If you enjoy the bitterly cold air, then who am I? Who am I to tell you that it's bad? I mean, I could tell you it's just not my cup of tea, but to each their own. Opinions are like armpits, right? Isn't that what they say? All right, I'll find this graphic at some point. at some point. That's the feels like USA forecast. Oh, there it is. Current temps. All right. Look at that. 50 in LA. That's not bad. 31 in Bangor. 33 Buffalo. 38 in Boston. We're at about 27 up in Chicagoland and 26 in Minneapolis. So yeah, there's some chill. There's some chill in the atmosphere, right? Whew. I'm in listening mode here, taking care of my 92-year-old grandfather. Becca, you do that. Take care of it. Take care of it. Taylor says, nope. Yeah, I would agree with that. Tina says you can choose to show your name or not, and they have chosen to hide their name. Okay. Makes sense. I didn't know that was a thing, so there you go. Kenneth says, did you miss me, Coffee Talk fans? Kenneth, anytime you're absent, we always miss you. We always do. Susie says, love the Maggie Valley. So, admission, I have flown up and down the shore, and I've never been through the Maggie Valley, or at least I've never known what it is. I've been to Gatlinburg. I've been all across. I've flown up and down the East Coast many times, but never known I was in the Maggie Valley, I guess, is a better way to put it. So anyway, all right. So obviously we had a cold front move through. Let's talk a little bit about temperatures here the next couple of days. All right, because cold front moved through, looks great. Here's a look at the temperatures the next couple of days, though. Yeah, 80 on Monday, 86 on Tuesday, 82 degrees on Wednesday, and then 71 on Thursday. What's happening here? Can we talk? Can we talk a little bit about it? All right, so here we are. For us today, comfy, do have a cold front south of us. Moved through yesterday. It was blustery as all get out, okay? April says, we moved here 3 months ago, and for the first time ever, we live in the warmest place out of everyone in our family. Well, April, welcome. Glad to have you in Central Florida. This is the time of year we get to make fun of everybody else. So join the party. We're all here together. Yeah. All right. So had a cold front move through. Super comfy now, right? Absolutely. New storm system starts developing, and on the very top of your screen, you can see some of those blue colors. That is this fabled thing called snow. We don't really get it in Central Florida. I mean, we can, but it's pretty rare. Yeah. So at any rate, storm system, snow. Storm system, snow. We know nothing about that. We just sit here and sip our coffee and enjoy our patio life, right? Though it will be throwing a cold front our direction, okay? So a little warmer for us tomorrow, a little warmer for us out ahead of that cold front, and then the cold front moves through, and as advertised, by Thursday, that cooler air moves into Central Florida. So let's just talk about temperatures these next couple of days, okay? Let's do that. Today's Monday, so let's do... 2 seconds. Bada bing, bada boom, as Manafoli would say. Here's a look at our temperatures today, okay? 80 degrees in Orlando, 77 in Leesburg, 75 in Ocala, 80 degrees in Palm Bay. It looks great, people. It looks great. 80 forecast, 78 the average high. So, awesome. Awesome, right? That looks great. All right, let's look at tomorrow's temperatures. For our Tuesday, 86 in Orlando. Not as awesome. 83 in Leesburg, 81 degrees in Ocala, okay? That's Tuesday. Here's Wednesday, all right? Wednesday afternoon, we're getting to 82 on Tuesday, 75 on in Ocala. Why? Because that front will be moving through right as we're climbing. So it's going to kind of stop the temperature climb and flatten us out, okay? So Wednesday's not looking too bad. But Thursday... Let's talk a little Thursday. First off, Thursday morning. I'll wait. I'll let this settle in for a minute. Do you see that? Does that say 48 degrees in Ocala? It does. 48 degrees. Are you kidding me? I mean, after what we've got, Central Florida's had 2 hurricanes this year. I mean, the state of Florida, really. Yeah. 48 in Ocala, 50 degrees Thursday morning in the Villages, 58 degrees in Orlando. Is it snow? No. But is it chilly Florida style? You betcha it is. 53 Daytona Beach, 57 degrees in Titusville. And then our afternoon high temperatures Thursday. Are you ready for that? 71 in Orlando. But that's probably on the high side of model guidance, right? 64 in Leesburg, 62 in Ocala, 64 degrees in Daytona Beach. Yowza. And then Friday, let's just talk about Friday because why not? What? I'm going to let this settle into you. Give me a minute. I need to emotionally get this going. 41 in Ocala. 46 in Leesburg. That 53 in Orlando may need to come down a little bit. What? Fall. Now, notice all the suburbs around Orlando are at 50 or even below. Being that it's a city, it has what's called the urban heat island effect, so we're going to keep the temperatures up. But this brings an interesting point, okay? So we are establishing, and let's just look at the 7-day forecast. I'm going somewhere with this, okay? We're establishing the fact that we are about to get boom goes the dynamite fall, right? So 80, 80, 80, boo, 70, 70, 70, 70. Morning lows, okay? We're in that time of year where the temperatures do start to go down. So let's discuss things a little bit here. October 9th is usually when we get our first temperature in the 50s. November 5th, this is in Orlando. November 5th is usually when we get our first temperature in the 40s. Now, we've not done it yet. Right? So we're over here celebrating because temperatures in the metro are going to get into the lower 50s. Friday, could we get into the 40s? Sure. And if that's the case, 14, 15, 16, 17, that's 18th. So that's obviously a little behind where we normally do. But that's usually, November 5th is usually when Orlando gets our first temperature in the 40s. We're certainly behind, but listen, I was late to mature through high school. So I could tell you, it's okay. It's okay. We're all going to get there. We're going to get to our chill. It just takes us longer sometimes than others. What are you going to do? I remember as a kid, all I wanted was hair on my arms. I wanted to be like, yeah, that's manly. And now it's sprouting up everywhere and in my ears. I'm like, stop it. Careful what you wish for. That, my friends, is what's called too much information. All right. Any questions that you have thus far? Any questions, comments, concerns? Annie says nothing below 60 degrees, please, Annie. Oh my gosh, how funny, right? Well, Florida's going to get there. And, I will say that I worked in South Florida for 7 years. It's very funny how the weather in South Florida is so different than even the weather here in Central Florida, right? Because we kind of stay in South Florida mode down there, whereas up here we do get into some chill from time to time, Catherine says, is it because the hurricanes were backed up a little with the cool weather? After Ian, we got slammed with a nice chill, and I feel like it kind of gave it to us prematurely, and then we kind of had to reset the atmosphere again, and then Nicole came through, and so I feel like now we're opening up that faucet a little bit. Yeah. Sharon says it always takes men longer, sometimes never. I'll admit, there's some areas that my maturity is pretty much right where it was when I was in high school. Diane, you're loving this weather. Oh, I am loving this weather. I'm loving this weather. Pat, real baby. I'll always promise that. I always promise that. You get what you get. All right, Dr. Andrew Shippett. He's not a doctor. It's my former intern. I gave him the title doctor. He could be doctor. Andrew's asking about Artemis. Early Wednesday morning. Let me tell you something. Had a conversation with the boss today. I was informed I will hear about our WESH to Artemis plan today. Without going back through my texts, I believe my quote was, I don't care what else goes on this week. I just want Artemis. What she doesn't know is that even if she doesn't assign me the assignment, even if I'm not going to Artemis for work, I'm going to the daggone launch. You're not stopping me. Not happening. Even if I have to tell the boss that the probability of good weather is not 90%, which it is. The launch probability weather is 90%. Our colleagues over at SLD 45, Space Launch Delta 45, the weather folks, the launch weather officers calling for wonderful, wonderful weather. Yeah. Can I share with you? Can I get nerdy for a second with you? I'm not showing this on TV yet, but remember yesterday when I said I had some coding to do? You remember that? Can I show you? It's Artemis related. Can I show you what I was working on? Will you allow that? It's okay. It's okay if you don't want to, but it's Artemis related and I'm just such a nerd. I look so forward to the cool tips here. Okay, Tim says please share. Rosebud, you're usually awake at that time. For me, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to stay. I'm going to need some coffee. This boy's going to need some coffee, let me tell you. Okay, all right. So, during the storm, we were watching the winds at 39B, which is where Artemis is. And it made me think. I do launch forecasts using the Weather Lab. Why not take and get that weather data from 39B into the weather computer? So, I present to you for the first time publicly live wind data off of Launch Complex 39B. Now, this is the overcomplicated version. I'm going to simplify it, but essentially, these are live winds on the 3 towers at 39B at the surface, at the lowest level. It's not the surface, but at the lowest level. And then we also have winds and gusts going up the rocket. Now, this is super nerdy stuff. But when we're watching winds, why not? Right? So yeah, that's what I was coding yesterday. So you can see, for example, and the way that it works is this is 131 foot sensors, this is 255 foot sensors, this is 380 foot sensors. So you've got winds and gusts from Tower 1, Tower 2, and Tower 3. This will play out, very importantly, if weather is a concern, if winds are a concern, because now we can look at the live data. We can look at, it's super nerdy, okay? Yeah, right, Karen? Every 5 minutes, and this will live update on the air if the graphic is up when the new data comes in, right? So, like, for example, it's just so interesting. I mean, this is just, and not only this, but I got coded all of the wind profiler sites out at the Cape. So now I can really start looking at weather information over at the Cape. But I get that this is super nerdy. But, like, here we are, okay? So, anyway, you could see, like, for example, I think it's so interesting. At 380 feet, winds are steady at 19, but they've only gusted to 17. So, it's quite breezy on the top, right? Winds are steady at 13, gusting to 16, and then at the bottom, winds are steady at 12, gusting to 17 on the different towers. So, Frank says, can you get the data during the launch? I don't think that they shut down the data feeds. I don't think so, you know? But it would be interesting, like, to watch that's an interesting thing. I've never really looked into this data all that much, but during the storm, I went looking and found the data. Tim says, it is nerdy, but so informative. Why didn't you think of it sooner? 100%. Why didn't I think of it sooner? I'm so frustrated with myself that I didn't think of it sooner, you know? Because I think if nothing else, it will really add to our launch coverage. But it'll be interesting if, like, during the launch, because there's thermometers at each of these levels. You better believe I'm going to be taking thermometer. I'm going to be building a live temperature data version because if it's cold, there are constraints in temperatures too. So you better believe I've got the temperature data coming in. But wouldn't it be interesting if it reads like 75 degrees, 900 degrees, 75 degrees? Like, maybe it would. I don't know. I've never really looked. I never really looked for this data until the hurricane. So there's a ton of stations out there at the Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. So I think for launch coverage, this is really going to be a super cool thing. Now, I am going to take and make a product instead of showing Tower 1, Tower 2, Tower 3. I'm just going to be like, out of the 3 towers, what's the highest wind and the highest gust? Out of the 3 towers, what's the highest wind and the highest gust? Just to oversimplify it, because like we can sit here and talk nerdy. Nancy's asking that question. If I'm honest with you, Nancy, I may have the wrong data point plugged in there. I have to check. Oh, live updated. Just there. There you go, though. It corrected itself. I don't know. I have to check, Nancy. But that's a very appropriate question. I have to check. There's that. All right. So I'm going to simplify. This will be something that like I can nerd out on like on a Facebook Live. But for TV, I'm going to make a bit more simplification and get the wind profilers going. And y'all, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner, but I could tell you the nerddom is strong. Oh, yeah. Every 5 minutes. Michael's asking, do the other pads have the same public data feeds? All of the data out there is public. Now, unless it's like SpaceX or Blue Origin data, but like if it's Kennedy Space Center or Cape Canaveral Space Force Station data, then it's public. So like there's one wind profiler between Launch Complex 40 and 41. I didn't see any on the pad itself, but I could at least kind of profile near 40 and 41, and that's where ULA and SpaceX launch. So anyway, it's data. And I'm excited to just start to see where I can take this, Yeah. Why are the gusts lower than the winds on the tallest Yeah, oh yeah. No, you're right, Trish. I have to QC the data and look and see. There may be something wrong with I may have plugged in the wrong data point, if I'm honest. I just have to look. I have to figure it out. I'll get there. This is the first time that I've shown it to anybody. Trish, thank you. Tim, thank you. So when is the launch going off and what time? So let's get back from my nerd data to the actual forecast itself. I'm going to be pulling an all-nighter. I will see you guys and gals. We're going to be doing some social media stuff on Tuesday night late. And the launch window for Artemis opens up at 1:04 a.m. Wednesday morning. Last time I was up at 1:04 a.m. College? No, I'm just kidding. Hurricanes, of course. What's the max before in the red? Well, I'm gonna have to go in and make. Yeah, now that we've got that part of it, we're going to have to go in and make like weather criteria graphical products. So we'll get there. Yeah, Kelly, I feel like I'm gonna have to drop a Red Bull off you tomorrow, and that's a big deal if I'm volunteering to give you. Well, but I can't do. Thank you, my dear, for the offer. I can't do sodas. That's why I have to just bring coffee. Joanne says that's why Wesh is the best. Always informative. Thank you. Taylor says there's always bugs with coding. It's true. Well, and that's why, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, of course, it wasn't doing that yesterday when I was coding. So there's obviously something there. So I'll figure it out. That's all. Debbie, so proud of you, Eric. You're amazing. We love. Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. Becca says it's a work in progress. Listen, aren't we all a work in progress? That's going to be very exciting. And I've already built so many graphics to go into Artemis and all this fun stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to share more nerddom with y'all. I really am. I love launches. I love space. It's one of those things that when we got the Weather Lab and I started covering space, I knew I was a space nerd, but I didn't know that I would 200% dive into my space nerddom. There was a telecon last night I was on. It was like 8:30 last night. They had just finished their mission managers meeting, and they're working a few problems, but they're still targeting early Wednesday, and they're starting their 2-day countdown today, people, leading up to launch. So there's a whole process. Rosebud, I'll be awake. Do you want me to call you? Well, listen, I mean, if I've got to pick up my credentials like dinner time Tuesday. So I'm thinking I'm going to try and catch a nap or something on Tuesday. And then, And then just go for it out there. Yeah. Don't be coming up here dissing my Red Bull. No, as long as you're not making trash coffee. No, this is I got my Pilone, and I'll have the Pilone in the weather lab. Oh, I don't know, Eduardo, Eric for President 2024. Eduardo, we don't talk politics in here. Destiny, I would totally vote for Eric for president. Here's the thing: I don't want to run for president because I don't want to annoy half the people out there. Pat, Artemis and Eric both moving us forward. Oh my gosh, y'all are too much. Okay, y'all are too much. In the meantime, great looking weather for Artemis. I'm excited to see what other nerdy graphics I can do. You know what else I'm excited for? Can we talk for a minute? I mean, it's cool and that's amazing, but there's something very particular that I'm excited about right now. Let me show you the graphic. No development expected in the tropics the next 5 days' time. Yeah. No development expected the next 5 days' time. Yeah. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm nerding out right now. Of course, when I get into the office, I'm going to go back to coding graphics for Artemis. Betty, maybe a president of a meteorological society. I'm no fan of the AMS, but don't tell them that. I just want to hang with y'all. I don't need to be a president of anything. We could all just hang out every morning, sip coffee, and I will have a very satisfied life. That's all I need. That's all I need in my world, you know? And some nice weather, too. Ooh, the TFRs are going up, y'all. They just put up the TFRs for Artemis literally just now. Yep. From the surface all the way up. TFRs are up, baby. Love it. Love it. Love it. Couple of showers for today along the shoreline. Just keep that in mind, all right? 20% if you live along I-95, 10% as we work inland, okay? All right, next 7 days, here we go. Looking good, people. 86 tomorrow. Then we start to cool off late week into the weekend. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so nice. I love this. I love this so much. What can I say? All right, any questions? Brian says, this is awesome. We just visited the Kennedy Space Center from Australia. Can't wait to tell the kids about the scheduled launch. And this thing's going to the moon. Like, that's what's so cool. So cool. Oh, Eric for astronaut. Now that I would not turn down. That I would not turn. I could probably have a better likelihood of becoming president than an astronaut, though, right? Like, can we agree on that? Can we agree on that? Becca, yeah, there's different static electricity all the way up through the atmosphere. I mean, they send up weather balloons like constantly on launch days to read static electricity, to read winds and things like that. So yeah, it's all there. Mercy, you didn't answer my question about the open collar. What was the question? I didn't even see your question. I didn't see your question. So what's your question, Mercy? Chilly weather and sweaters. I'm ready, Tiffany says. I got a nice autumn shirt. So I'm all ready for autumn. Not that I can wear it on TV. It's a personal, it's a non-TV, your personal life kind of deal. Jenny, will this temp trend last next week for Thanksgiving? So let's look at some raw models. Let me pull it up. I haven't pulled up the BSR, so I'm not going to do it now just because it's not like geared up at all, and I'm not going to bore you with it. But we can at least look at some raw model data together and see what we're looking at into Thanksgiving. Becky says, I drink hot tea, black cherry mixed with spicy cherry and a bit of sugar. Oh, that sounds feisty. All right, so what are we looking at into Thanksgiving? So this is just raw. Oh, that's Canadian. Who trusts the Canadian model? It's not a knock on Canada, by the way, people. It's just a knock on their model. All right, so this is a look at temperatures into Thanksgiving. So there's, yeah. So nice and cool. Wow, look at that. This is kind of a blend. Let's look at the GFS. Let me pull up just the GFS. So there you go. This is kind of just raw GFS data. What is that? So Thanksgiving's the 24th. So building heat around Thanksgiving, and then right kind of before Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving, those temperatures drop. But at least we've got the temperatures dropping, right? Like, at least there's that, you know? Is there a reason why Cam doesn't do the continuous coverage during a hurricane? Marcy, we all kind of tag in and out, you know? She must let you have holiday outfits, right? No holiday outfits. No holiday outfits. Yeah. Betty, remember when they learned that static electricity was a cause of launch failures? It was a big deal back then. Every science class went wild. Yeah. Carol's asking, what is a TFR? TFR means temporary... Oh, goodness gracious. TFR means temporary flight restriction. So temporary flight restriction means that you're not allowed to fly in that airspace because there's a launch. They put that up, and that's always a way of knowing, all right, we're moving that direction. And then, of course, capsule returns, same kind of thing. Yeah. A lot of people do not understand that this launch is very historic, Oliver says. It has been over 50 years since our last manned moon mission, right? This is an entire generation plus. I wish the country would band together and support as we did for the Apollo missions. I think, Oliver, that once we get into crewed missions, the world cannot ignore it, right? Like, this is the first human-rated capsule to head to the moon in years and years and years and years and years. And then in a few years, Artemis 2 will take people around the moon. They're not going to land, but it's, these missions are incredible. Artemis 1, the mission that we're prepping to launch this week, will take a human-rated capsule further from Mother Earth than ever before. It's unmanned, but they are putting this rocket through the paces, right? It's putting the Orion capsule into what's called a distant retrograde orbit. Are we going to have to really dive back into my nerd graphics? I suppose we are. Stand by. All right, so let's talk about it. All right? And now the coffee. Ugh. All right. So, once Artemis 1 leaves Earth, it heads out to the moon and enters into what's known as a distant retrograde orbit, okay? And essentially, it will be out around the moon. The whole mission profile, I believe, is 21 days at this point, but once it enters into that distant retrograde orbit, it will go further than any human-rated spacecraft ever has. Okay? I mean, this is a monumental step in spaceflight. And while it's unmanned, I think that people are still not, going crazy over it, but they should. And I think that coming back to Artemis 2, a manned mission, there's some really cool stuff happening, guys and gals. There's some really cool stuff happening. Bruce says, I'm really looking forward to Artemis. I'm looking forward to Artemis as well. We've got Starlink, so we'll be bringing you Coffee Talk via Starlink. Evening edition of Coffee Talk via Starlink. We'll start a GoFundMe so we can buy you a ticket on a celebrity flight to space. Yeah, I don't know that this little community can afford it. If we had a few million people, maybe. That's okay, though. Oh, man. Artemis 3 is the moon landing, and I believe the new engine's not recycled and modified from the shuttle's RS-25s. Yeah, well. Yep. Andrew says 26 days. What did I say? Did I say 21? Did I miss that up? I was tired last night. I knew it was 20-something. Yeah. My family started calling me for their weather forecasts, thanks to the fine teaching on Coffee Talk. Nancy, that's an honor. Thank you. Anytime you have a question, Nancy, ask it, please. Linda says, I hope it goes off successfully this time. Me too. I always love driving over there, just being in the area. But it'd be a little cooler if I could be in the area and get a cool launch too. But hey, it's a test rocket. At the end of the day, they've never built it before. They've never launched it before. So they have to learn. You have to understand. How many times did they build the Honda Civic until they built the Honda Civic? You know what I mean? How many prototypes did they have to do? The difference is that they do that behind the scenes, and with NASA, with SpaceX, like how many times has Starship crash landed, right? Space is in the public eye. So, at the end of the day, we're all kind of seeing their successes and their failures. Has little Eric been to the space? He's not been to the Space Center. He's been out to a couple of the museums, but yeah. All right. Mickey's asking, did the rocket have any damage from the gust? Minor damage. Minor damage. They're working through some things, but yeah, nothing seemingly that should cause a delay, which that's quite impressive if you ask me. All right. All right. Here we are. Today, incredible weather. Tomorrow we're getting warmer, but then Thursday, Friday, chilly. Jacket weather. Holy cannoli. Yeah. All right? All right. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much. If you missed part of Coffee Talk, we're available on YouTube, Twitter, and of course on Facebook, taped, of course. And then you can always listen to the podcast by heading over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart. All right? Be the sunshine in someone else's day, would you? I will see you guys and gals later on for the afternoon Coffee Talk, 3:30. And then I'm on TV today for Wesh 2 News at noon and Wesh 2 News at 4. Okay? Okay. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all so much. Take care. Bye.